the Flyers acquire Zach Werenski, does he extend? Is it a priority, a non-negotiable, that the Flyers acquire him with an extension effectively sealed, eligible to sign next year? Well, to get Zach Werenski, you first have to acquire him by sending something the other way, and I think it would be clearly, in terms of reporting, shout out to Anthony DeMarco, Anthony Sanfilippo, some local beats that are very well connected. It does seem, after initial reporting with The Athletic, their Columbus reporters, it's only Porter Martone who is truly untouchable. The Flyers package, I think, would be Tyson Forster, Cam York, maybe an Oliver Bonk type of player, a third high-level prospect / right now fringe NHL player for the Blue Jackets, and then throw in a future first-round pick, let's call it Toronto's. Does it get it done? Is it better than a Harley one-for-one swap? Only Don Waddell will really be able to ultimately tell us. And of course, Werenski himself, given he has a no-move clause. But say the Flyers are able to execute that deal, bring in Zach Werenski. Does he need to have an extension pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered unofficially? I don't think so. I really don't. And here's my thinking. Zach Werenski, this is one of two unique opportunities in just under a year. You look at Quinn Hughes, Werenski, two of the three best defensemen, arguably, in the NHL. Dynamic ability, offensively, of course, transform your team. Interestingly, Quinn Hughes, there's been some reporting as of late with Kevin Kurz of The Athletic, some speculating about if the Flyers even really ever had a chance to acquire Quinn Hughes. So it makes this Werenski potential acquisition even more urgent, more important. But nonetheless, when you look at a Werenski, I want the Flyers to acquire Zach Werenski this offseason, given there's still 2 years to go on his contract. If it was just 1 year, and there was, of course, no extension, which could be negotiated, then if he did have just 1 year left, you could truly sign, seal, and deliver some type of extension. Nonetheless, given there's 2 years, this is a risk the Flyers, I think, need to take. It's a calculated risk. You are confident in your culture, in your building, the leadership group that you have. Sure, you don't have necessarily a Dylan Larkin, a Kachuk brother, a Team USA star, but you have a core group of players, a coaching staff, a front office that has a vision that's been slowly building, evaluating, as you have said. You trust in your ability to get Zach Werenski in here and see out the course of a season, and in short order, hopefully convince him with a playoff push, with a successful season, hey, you're here to stay. Let's get done another 5-year extension. Be here for the long run. That's the ideal scenario, of course. But acknowledging the risk of you play out this year, maybe things don't go according to plan with Zach Werenski. By having a year to go, still on his contract this time next year, you can field offers if you feel like you're in a tough spot, what the spot Columbus is in right now, hence them considering moving when they could get certainly high-end value for Zach Werenski as they look to reshape their entire franchise. You get Zach Werenski for a year, a trial run, convince him, but if you don't, you can recoup, frankly, I think, the large majority of the value that you would have traded away. Maybe you're not getting the top-end prospect and a first, but if you get a prime young player, a center, a defenseman, plus 2 really, really high-end pieces as opposed to 4 very good pieces that you would be giving up in this theory, in this theoretical mock trade for the Flyers, I think it's a risk that you just have to take. We'll only know where Zach Werenski truly wants to go if Don Waddell and Columbus is entertaining an in-division offer. I think everything has to be on the table. It's give me your best and final. For Columbus, why would they drag this situation out? And if the Flyers, should you be fortunate to get Werenski, and things just fall apart and not go according to plan, okay, you'd be able to recoup a significant value back. You look at the experiment that Carolina had with Rantanen in a much more condensed timeline. They get back. Sure, they gave up a Marty Necas. They get back a Stankoven plus. That's the type of risk you need to embrace when you would be able to truly guarantee negotiations with any other team that would know, okay, Zach, you want to come here? You can then you can sign right on the dotted line. That is the nature of the situation for me. That's my read. You have to embrace risk. You have to go and get one of the best, well, frankly, voted the best defenseman in hockey. Well, what about sticking with Columbus? Maybe not a Zach Werenski acquisition if Dallas truly is take Thomas Harley, who signed for 8 more years, take maybe some additional picks or prospect on top. Then it's let's go to Kirill Marchenko. Let's do what we can. And Dave Pagnotta of the fourth period, mentioning the Flyers specifically as a team discussing Kirill Marchenko. The 25-year-old wing can play on the left, can play on the right shot, extremely high-end skater. You can't tell by the name, he is Russian. He actually comes from the SKA program that Michkov is also from. I believe there was even a little bit of overlap where they would have been together in that SKA organization, given, look, Matt Vey, a teenage prodigy wonder, had always been with SKA for years and years. So before Marchenko really came over, I think there might have been a year or so of overlap, but my vision for the Flyers in acquiring a Kirill Marchenko as a plan B to potentially missing out on Zach Werenski is this player, yes, you have a glut of wings, but this is where you give a Tyson Forster. Plus, I'd be willing to go as far as a first-round pick. Marchenko, it's a different element. What he brings on the ice as far as elite skating ability, while maintaining that incredible goal-scoring ability, Kirill Marchenko has already gone right in and around a point per game over a 79-game sample, has broken 30 goals, is only a year and a half older than Tyson Forster. 6'3", skates, again, just dynamically well in the 97th, 98th, 99th percentiles, depending on where you want to look. Average skating speed, top-end skating speed, bursts. Kirill Marchenko, to me, provides so much to this Flyers team as a potential top 6 winger. Frankly, as a potential Matvei Michkov partner, an ideal line mate over not just the short, not just the mid, but the long-term 5+ years here. As both players look to enter their primes. Marchenko at 25, of course, he's in and around that. Going to be 26. I think he fits the Flyers timeline very well. I think in this case, of course, you would have to get an extension pretty much guaranteed in any type of deal. He is eligible to sign. Marchenko, it's a no-brainer acquisition for me. It makes way too much sense for your Flyers. And he signed to just $3.85 million. The value that you have over this year, this upcoming, and then you give him, say, 7 by double digits, he's earned it. You make him your highest paid player. I think there is just so much value with a Kirill Marchenko, having him with a Michkov, having him headline one of your top 6 impact wingers, Owen Tippett. The sheer skating ability, I think it really, really changes the complexion of your Flyers. What do you guys think? Do you want a Marchenko? Do you maybe prefer over a Werenski, depending on acquisition cost? Let me know in the comments, guys. I'll let you know some takeaways, reading the tea leaves, watching some clips. Shout out to Jordan Hall, Travis Charlie O'Connor, all the beats who are following this in the Flyers training facility in Voorhees, Flyers dev camp. The headline, you got to start with Barkey and Martone. They look the part. They have just separated themselves. They look like NHL impact players. They look like they just contributed in a serious NHL postseason run for your Philadelphia Flyers. There's a reason. Riley Armstrong had joked, look, these two plus Bump, we showed a highlight package to the entire dev camp, dozens and dozens of players, the entire dev camp group here, to kick things off, to show a pathway, what you could do for this team in the future. And these guys leading by example, just a cut above, clearly a cut above. And again, the mentality, you got to love this. You got to love it. As players who, in Barkey and Martone, I think, frankly, are going to wear a letter. Captain for Martone, an A for Barkey. That really seems like where we're headed. I think it's very, very likely. Some other storylines just to touch on. In some press conference availabilities, Luchenko talking about a lower body issue that has been lingering for multiple years now, which is not great, but he seems very confident. Look, the timing of dev camp this year is just about a week early. He's going to be skating next week, so we can only hope that truly is the case. Then you look at some other players, a Jack Murtagh coming off of a bit of a down year, one of the Flyers' top second-round picks at BU, an American as Carter Amico, the big right shot defenseman. Of course, a really weird in-season move from where he started at BU and then went the other way to the USHL with Muskegon in a bit of a one-for-one Tyne and Lawrence trade at one of the top center prospects this past draft class we just saw. Those two players getting invited to the USA Summer Showcase, which I think is big for them, get their development back on track, what necessitated them being top 50 picks. The Flyers, one of their key priorities last draft, in addition to your Jack Nesbitt, of course, Porter Martone. They need 2025 to hit in a big way, that draft class, even beyond Porter Martone. Then you look at some other names and notes in terms of future plans as far as developmentally. Matthew Guard, another second-round pick in that 25 class, the last pick in that second round for the Flyers. He is going to be going to Michigan State. Talked about taking note of what Porter Martone did in his year there. Really motivating him. I think it spells great things. One more year in the dub for Matthew Guard. Hopefully maybe get some more offense in his game as a big 6'5" left shot center. And then how about the CHL import draft? Ilya Pautov, the Russian small-ish winger who's got a lot of skill, gets selected 8th overall by the Gatineau Olympiques. So with that type of priority selection, you got to figure he is going to play for that team in the queue for the Olympiques, actually Claude Giroux's team. So interesting little tidbit there. And then Flyers second-round pick, Martin Slahovic. We're going to figure out the pronunciation soon enough. He gets picked to also in the first round, but in the mid-50s, given the sheer amount of CHL teams and how that order is inverted based on standings, what have you. Going to the Saskatoon Blades of the WHL. The WHL also being where the other Flyers goalie, Sklenichka, already plays for Seattle. So you got to think Slahovic, that would make sense. That would be ideal for him to play in North America, to come on over from Czechia. So, promising things ahead. Really exciting, intriguing news as Dev Camp really kicks into full swing here. Some scrimmages coming up. And I want to wrap things up, though. Let's talk about free agency. Right here, right now. Anthony Sanfilippo talking about, do the Flyers potentially look to offer sheet Maverick Bourque? Center / wing, really, with the Stars. Played mostly wing. Didn't really produce a lot of points. Coming off of a career year, though. 20 goals, 41 points, half a point per game. Not the most dynamic skater, but is there some untapped potential there, given the role that he had in Dallas, given the expanded role the Flyers could provide? Intriguing play here. I think it's one of really the only RFA potential routes here that makes sense, if the Flyers even go that direction. I wouldn't be willing to go, even based on the thresholds of 7 to 9.5, 9.7 and some change as far as first plus pick thresholds you have to give up as far as offer sheets go. I don't really want to go just based on the sheer monetary commitment and the term that would imply with a Maverick Bourque. I think it would have to be in and around that 5 to 6 range as far as AAV that I think would make sense. But even in this rising cap world, a team like Dallas in a tough spot with, of course, a Jason Robertson situation looming, could they then figure out a way to retain Maverick Bourque to match anything? To be determined, guys. What do you think of Bourque? What do you think of the Flyers' free agency plans? Predictions as well. Let me know in the comments, guys. Have a great one. I will see you in the next one.